Hello and welcome to the Transformation Project, a podcast and community for women who are looking to transform into the best version of themselves, no matter where they're at. A place where you can listen, learn and laugh along with us as we dive deep into different topics to help you live a happier, healthier and more fulfilled life. Remember, we are all learning here together, and therefore the content and opinions of the hosts and our guests should not be taken as medical advice. Please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. Thank you for being with us. We were just saying this is different because this is 6 a.m. for Elana, but then it's 8 p.m. for us. So it's super cool actually to be able to connect with people on the opposite side of the world. And so we've never met before. We met online, as you do now.
Right.
As you do. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I listened to a couple of your podcast episodes before you and I even set this up, and then listened to a few more afterwards. And I just love how authentic and real and flowy it is, if that's a word. So I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. Well, that's kind of why we started it, because we just have these conversations that just go on. And then we were like, we should record these. We should share this with more people.
Absolutely.
Well, I felt very much the same about you. So we met on social media and I had just been creeping your profile and was like, I really dig this girl. I really love what she's putting out. And then I forget which one of us said the first message, but then we just kind of connected and I just threw it out there. I was like, if you ever want to be on our podcast, we'd love to have you, because I just loved what you're about. And I wanted to get to know you a bit more.
How cool is the world?
Very cool.
I know. How cool is the world? I mean, really, to connect with someone who's Canadian, who's in Australia, who happens to, I think you and I, from what I've seen on just social media, I think you and I travel the same wavelength in terms of how we think about things. So we definitely clicked even from opposite sides of the world. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about what you do for like work and what your passion and everything is, and kind of, I guess, why we really get along?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am fiercely passionate about motherhood and about mental health. So right now I am a certified life coach and I work with single moms, and I help single moms create a sense of calm within themselves, within their homes, and then as a product within their children. And I do that using kind of two avenues. So the first avenue is more of this clinical avenue of working on your thoughts. So I should say that I have a background as a therapist. I have a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in social work. And I've worked as a therapist. I started in 2009. And only recently in the past year did I switch over from therapist to life coach. I went ahead and I got a certification done. And the reason I switched over was because, first of all, I wanted to work for myself. And second of all, when I switched over to life coach, it provided me with the freedom to really niche down. I was getting clients who were moms. I was getting clients when I was a therapist who I enjoyed working with. It's not that I didn't, but this way I get to really just focus on what I'm passionate about, which is working with moms to become more mentally healthy. And I believe that everyone deserves good mental health. And I have worked with men, women, children, adults, all kinds of races, all kinds of backgrounds. But there's something about helping a mother get healthier, because then the kids get healthier. So it's like this twofer. I don't know if you use that word in Australia, but twofer, like 2 for 1. And okay. And so for me, it's like, how can I make the biggest contribution here? And I am a single mother. And so I'm really passionate about single mothers embracing their role and not falling too deep into that victimization mindset, and really empowering themselves. And so what I started to say was I used the clinical aspect of some cognitive behavioral techniques, some thought replacement. I just got a certification from the life coach school. I don't know if you know who Brooke Castillo is, but she runs that school, and her general theory is that our entire experience comes from our thoughts. And so I help single moms shape their thoughts, identify and isolate the thoughts that are creating pain in their life, that are creating anxiety, and then help them neutralize them and replace them with thoughts that are really useful for them and their kids. And then the second avenue that I use is spirituality. I'm a very spiritual person. I have found great peace in my life at different times. I've been through some difficult things in my life, and spirituality has always been the way that I have been able to take pain and transform it into growth. And so for me, taking a look at my mind and what's going on inside of me and my emotions, and then coupling that with a really heavy dose of spirituality, for me is the recipe that just creates transformation and moving forward in times that seem difficult, and growth and self-acceptance and the ability to sit with difficult emotions. And, you know, at the end of the day, we are the example for these children. They come out, you know, just completely innocent and not knowing what love is supposed to look like, what parenthood is supposed to look like. They don't know any of that. They learn it from us. And, you know, I have a good friend who says, you're going to screw your kids up no matter what, right? Like, no matter what, we're going to do something where we do something that affects them in some negative way later in life. We can't get away from it. That's just, you know, the way humans work. But I think a mother who lives intentionally and is an example for when things feel hard, we ask for help, we talk about it, and we learn how to feel our feelings, and we heal and we grow and we use it to move forward. And I think that that is just so important. We don't teach these things in school, and they need to be taught. So that's kind of my whole passion.
That's pretty cool, Elana. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I've done a couple of stints as a single parent to 4 kids, and you know, it is, I agree, like how we face the challenges that we face affects their reality and their perception of how they move forward into life when they have their own challenges as well. So it is. I love that you talked about doing a 2-for, and, you know, supporting the mum so that then the kids get this, hopefully a calmer, more whole, kind of capable, most of the time, kind of human, because at the end of the day, I think some of the issues that potentially can arise is this need as a single mum to be the master of everything all of the time. Right. So is that something that you see a bit with other mothers?
You mean in terms of, like, do they think they have to have it all under control all the time?
They have to be the best mum and the best worker and, you know, the best friend to their friends, and the house is always clean, and, you know what I mean? Like, I think like the expectations.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't see that as much as I see single moms just feeling really resentful in some way. Feeling like their life didn't end up going as planned. And even, you know, there are some single moms I've been in contact with who are single moms by choice, who go ahead and decide to get pregnant without a partner. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And there are differences between the different kinds. There's many different kinds of single moms out there, and there are differences. And then there are some similarities, you know, and I don't think it's anyone's first choice when it happens, whether it happens by choice or not. I don't think it's anyone's first choice. maybe there's an exception out there. But I think that the healing happens when we realize that maybe our first choice wasn't actually like the best choice for us, and maybe like this can be better, and like that's where the spirituality comes in, you know. And when I became a single mom a little over a year ago, well, actually before I became a single mom, when my marriage was just really on the rocks, I was trying so hard to keep this marriage together. I was trying so hard to keep this marriage together, and I had this rigid idea of like, my son has to have two parents. It has to be a two-parent household. Like it has to be. This is the way, you know? And have a very good spiritual friend who cares about me, who, you know, in a moment of intimacy and quiet, she said to me, can you have enough faith in God to know that maybe his plan for you is not your plan, but his plan is better for you? And at the time, I was like, no, you don't understand. His plan is my plan. Do you not know this? You know, like I was so stuck in this is going to work. But circumstances played out and it did not work out. And probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. And looking back now, I see how right she was. That I think so often we try and hold on to something that we really like the idea of it. We really like the concept of it, but it's like not true to who we are. It's not working for us. It's not creating any growth within us. It's not creating any peace within us. And so I know I completely derailed from your question, but I don't see as much perfectionism as I see frustration, as I see some resentment, as I see just like really trying to hold it together. And I think that I see perfectionism in general with mothers, generally, not just like single mothers. I think that a lot of moms think that they have to have it all together. And I think that a lot of moms feel like there's some like other secret mom watching them or something. And it's like, we get to do it however we want to do it. Like my house is a mess right now. You know, I'm so glad that this is audio. My house is such a mess right now. And it just is the way it is today. And, you know, and I'll get to it and I'll clean it, but I'm also not going to judge or shame myself about it. You know, it's a home. So there's all kinds of moms out there with all kinds of different thoughts. What I like to do is help you identify what thoughts do you have that are creating pain in your life. And for some moms, that'll be perfectionism. And for some moms, it'll be a little bit of victimization. And for some moms, it'll just be, you know, some really intense fear. And for other moms, some really intense worry. And, you know, just whatever the flavor is for that woman, I really like to help her kind of work through it and create a home that she really loves.
That's so interesting that you say that, because I was a single mom for a long time too. And it wasn't until my second child was born, when I remarried, that I realized that a lot of the issues that I was creating with my first child was from a guilt base. So my first husband's not a great example as a dad or a father or a husband. And my daughter was very much impacted by that, to the point that when she was 12, she wouldn't go back to his house anymore. She made that choice. And now as a 20-year-old doesn't have anything to do with him. But for a long time, I realized I carried around so much guilt that was the choice I had made for her as a father. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think in doing that, not that I let her get away with a lot more than I do my younger child, but I always tried to make everything else perfect. Like if she had struggles at school, I would be there to help her. If she forgot her lunchbox, I was there like a shot. Like I was trying to like cotton wool the rest of her life, because I realized, to me, I felt like I'd really dumped her in it on the first part. And with my second child, I'm a lot different, to the point that she has forgotten her lunch at times and has had to go hungry, because we have to remember to be responsible for our own things. So I handled both those children completely different. And I only realized after I had my second child the reason why I was doing it. So do you often have that with mums where they don't even know the reason why they're treating their kids or doing things with their children in a certain way?
Almost all the time. Yeah. I think that that's the first thing that we tackle. Is a lot of times the pain point, the reason that these moms reach out to get help is because there's something going on with the kids. And when I was a therapist working in a much more clinical setting, and I would be assigned adolescent clients, they would present me as, here's the case of a child or an adolescent that's, acting out or whatever. And 95% of the time, it came down to what was going on with the parents. And that's when all of this kind of started to click for me, And so, yeah, I think that most of the time we don't know. And that's why a lot of times I say, and I won't curse here, I'll use a different word. I say, you can't fake this stuff. Like you can't fake, you can't fake really good mental health. You can't fake meditation. You can't fake that you meditate when you don't. You can't fake that you work through your thoughts when you don't. Like you can't fake this work. Either you do it and it organically creates amazing benefits, or you don't do it. And so, some challenges will arise, but those challenges sometimes are what brings us to the work. And so there's no shame in that at all. But I do think that most moms, at least who would be drawn to my work, are struggling with getting the kids to listen, or having issues maybe with like the co-parent, or, things like that. And they don't realize how they come in feeling powerless, as if this is happening to me or this is happening around me, not realizing how much of it is happening within them, how much of it is coming from them, how children feed off of energy, especially from their parents. They feed off of energy. I think we all have stories about what it felt like coming home, right? What was it like if, I don't know, some people have a parent who was moody, some people have a parent who drank a lot, some people have a parent who, whatever it was, it's like from a very early age, we learn to kind of handle whatever our parent is going through, because we seek approval. That's how we're wired. And so, yeah, I think a lot of times, but this is good news, right? Like if we think it's happening to us and around us and we're powerless over it, and then we find out, oh, wait, I have a lot of power here, because if I work on me from the inside, my fears, my intense, worry and how that comes up for me, then I can really make an impact here. And also, one of the reasons that I love psychology so much is because you can take two people and put them in the exact same circumstance, all variables constant, and they will come out of that with two different experiences because of the way that they're thinking about it. And so we don't necessarily need to change what's going on around us, although it's fine if we can and we need to, but we don't necessarily need to. We can always take back our own power by changing our perspective and the way we think about things. And so like my favorite perspective shift is going from like, this is happening to me to this is happening for me, and things of that sort. And so that's the kind of work that I do with moms, where they just take back the power, work on things from the inside out, and then watch the magic happen as these kids respond to this new energy. It's like this beautiful organic thing that you don't even realize is happening until it's happening. So it's really cool.
I can totally attest to that. It really is about the mom's energy. So tonight, like my husband's not home yet. He'll be home soon. So I do bedtime with a toddler and a newborn. And let me tell you, today was probably the worst day I've ever had with my two children. One of those like, mommy's going to cry or mommy's going to yell or like, I don't know, I'm going to have some wine after this. And that was literally like, but because I think I've done the meditation and I'm definitely not perfect and definitely still going through a lot of the work, but I was able to find that calm, like just for a couple minutes. to then be able to calm them both, like literally holding both children, both of them crying, being like, I'm going to cry in a second. Or I'm going to put them both down, but just kind of being able to like, okay, like it's going to be okay. We're going to make it through this. No idea why either of them are upset, but like if I get more upset, they're just going to get more upset. And it's happened. I've gotten upset before, and my daughter's totally gone over the rails after. So yeah, just being able to find that calm in you is going to drastically impact them. What I wanted to quickly ask you about was, I'm just looking it up right now. You had put a post up a little while ago that I really liked. It was like, I do not, and then you had a whole bunch of things that you don't do versus things that you do. So like, I do not tell you how to parent your kids, versus like, I do help you become a calmer mother. Can you speak into that a little bit? Like what I think specifically what you don't do? Because I think a lot of people think you're going to tell them there's one thing that works for everyone. There's one secret magic thing that you do as a mother to stay calm.
Right.
Yeah. Can you talk into that a bit?
Yeah. So I am not a parenting expert at all. My professional background is not working with children. I've had a few clients here and there that have been assigned to me that were under the age of 18, but generally I've worked with adults. So I will not tell you how to discipline your children, how to raise your children. I will not do that. I understand that there are cultural differences across the board. I understand that there are different styles of parenting that we usually, do whatever works within the family. None of that is really my business. My business and what I don't do is tell you how to parent your children. There are many experts out there that can help with that if that's something that you're looking for. I help you as a mother become the healthiest version of yourself. And through that, I 100% believe that you will make the best decisions in parenting. There is no one way to parent. There is no one way to be a mother. There is no one way to co-parent. These kids do not come with a manual. They should, but they don't. And, and there's a reason that they don't, because each child is different. So I can tell you what really works for me as a parent, and that might not work for you and your child. And I know enough to know that I don't know. And so I will just help you be the calmest version of yourself. And I love what you said, Jessica, about, you said something along the lines of, they were all freaking out, but I was able to find that calm because I'm already doing this work. That right there is my whole point. A big part of what I do with moms is help them come up with some kind of spiritual routine. And again, spiritual doesn't mean religious. Spiritual doesn't mean that you call a higher power God. Spiritual doesn't mean any of that. Spiritual just means that you feel like there's something bigger than you and you'd like to tap into that. That's it. And so meditation is a spiritual practice. Prayer, if that works for you, is a spiritual practice. Breathing exercises are a spiritual practice. Stretching and feeling your body is a spiritual practice. And then there are more mental health practices that I encourage. And that, by the way, everything I encourage, I do myself on a daily basis. It is 6 a.m. my time. I woke up at 5 a.m. to make sure to pray, meditate, and write down my thoughts before I got on here with you ladies. Because not doing that is not an option for me. I don't want to show up messy, and I'm so much less messy when I manage my mind, so much less messy. And so, I have so many tools in my toolbox, and I'm really good at helping you pick out the ones that are going to help you. I've been working in the mental health field long enough to know what's going to work for you and what's not. And of course, you as the client get to, veto whatever you want. But I do have a lot of tools in the toolbox. So you don't need to do things the way that I do them. But I'm happy, to share with clients what I do. And so, like you said, because I'm already doing the work, when stuff hits the fan, I'm covered. it's like an insurance policy. Every day that I put into my own mental health, to my own spiritual well-being, to my own self-care, is I'm putting more and more and more into this insurance policy, so that one day when I really am faced with that crisis in front of me, I'm covered, just like you were tonight. And that's like the whole point of this work, because there's always going to be an overwhelming day. Like this is not an easy thing we got going here. There's always going to be an overwhelming day, and that's okay. That's okay. I think there's a big difference between feeling overwhelmed sometimes and being able to kind of, go within and then find our calm like you did, which is really beautiful. And I think is one of the main goals of a lot of my clients. There's a big difference between that and then feeling like there is no way and no place for you to go to find that calm. I help you create that place. I show you what that looks like, and I help you get there, and then it's yours, like forever. No one takes it from you. You keep it as long as you want to, and it's always there to go to. And your children blossom because now they have a mother who is calm, who is intuitive, who is centered, and is, of course, making cleaner decisions because of that. So that's like the whole work.
It's amazing. And that, like, I've always wanted kids, and I was like, because I've always wanted them, this is going to be easy. Like that was what was going on in my head. I'll figure it out. This is going to be easy. And sitting in those moments where like it is overwhelming, and I very clearly see how maybe me 5 years ago would have gotten very overwhelmed and been a very different mom than I am now. And it is just the work. It's just being aware of it, and then the work going into it. So I love what you're doing and what you're showing people, because we've all seen crazy moments with kids. We know they happen.
Yeah,
they're going to happen, but it's really just how you combat it all.
Yeah. And also not judging or shaming yourself for the moments that do happen. They're supposed to happen. We don't know what calm is without overwhelm, So to really accept ourselves within those moments too, I think is important for us and important for our kids to see ourselves, accept ourselves in moments that we're not proud of. So
I'm so proud of you, Jess. Okay. I'm just going to say that. Good job, Mama.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean,
when
the
I
house
had
is a
that
disaster.
same stuff, like back in the day, I can remember my eldest was pretty easy, but the younger one, Savannah, who's my 11-year-old now, was really not. I can remember just at one point just putting her in her crib and closing her door and going to my room at the other side of the house, and then going into my bathroom and into the toilet cubicle and closing all of those doors and just sitting there for 10 minutes, like just trying to calm down, knowing that she was crying on the other side of the house. But I was like, I just can't deal right now. I need like just a sec. And you can kind of understand where people just freak out and, do ridiculous things. If I had known about this stuff then, like complete game changer, I think, to be able to get myself to a place of calm without having to completely remove myself and like leave my kid to cry and run away and hide in the bathroom on the other side of the house. So good job. I'm going to high five you across the
but also I think it's important to know that if it's totally okay to step away and find a way to get calm that way too. I've done that in the shower. What you did, I've done that in the shower, and that's okay. Like, you're not going to leave your child to cry forever or be hungry or be in a dirty diaper. We're not talking about that. Sometimes we just need to take a moment. The child is safe. The child will be fine. And we have to take care of ourselves. And, I'm not saying like it's okay to just leave a kid in a room crying. I'm just saying that if you need to take a minute so that you can return to that child from like a more loving, compassionate, calm place, then that is in their best interest, and I don't think that we need to feel badly about that. It's kind of like, it always makes me think of that thing where you fly on an airplane and they say, if we start crashing, put that oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your child. Because if you don't put it on yourself first, you're going to lose air and then you're useless to them. So yeah, they're over here breathing, but they don't have anyone to take care of them. And we just accept that when it comes to physical safety. A captain says it and we just accept it. That's just the way. You tell me that's how my child will be best and I'm going to listen to you. But then when it comes to like the emotional safety of putting on our own oxygen mask first, we create so much drama in our head about it. You know, I'm supposed to put my child first and they're more important and all of this. And I think that the message is lost on people. And Esther Hicks says it best. The greatest gift we can give our kids is our own well-being. And I posted something about this the other day too. And it's like, think about your own childhood. It was as healthy as the people who raised you. And it wasn't so much about, you know, what the punishments were or what the, you know, I'm sure all of that can play a part if they're severe, but generally it's about the mental health of the parents. And if, you know, self-care means I'm going to go take a minute and breathe so I can return to my child a calmer version of me, that's okay. That's okay.
I love everything that you've shared. I wanted to kind of step back to where you shared earlier that you got up early this morning, 5 a.m., and you did some particular practice to put you in a good state. So what would be the three, if you had to pick three things, what would they be as a suggestion for women to help them to deal with daily life?
Yeah. Meditation, 100%. There is a lot of science that backs meditation. Meditation. Medication's okay too, by the way, but meditation. Meditation, I mean, there's all kinds of studies that show that like 10 days in a row of meditating and your amygdala, your fight or flight, actually starts to shrink, you know, so like your brain actually starts to change as you meditate on a consistent basis. And it doesn't matter, because this is what scares a lot of new meditators off. It doesn't matter how long you meditate for. You don't need to sit there for 30 minutes. I usually don't meditate more than 10 minutes, and I've been meditating for years. So for me, meditation is number one, and I help clients understand what that is, and more importantly, what that isn't. There's a lot of myths out there about I have to be Zen, my thoughts have to be completely clear, I have to be already calm before I go into meditation. None of that is true, and I help you find that way. So meditation for sure. For me, prayer is really important to me. When I connect with something that's bigger than me, I feel less alone. I feel humbled, and, you know, it's good for me to know that there's a source bigger than me that I can turn to. That's important for me. And then, you know, filling my brain with good stuff. So reading a book that promotes good mental health, that promotes healing, that promotes spirituality. Just, I think that with so much social media, you know, and we're recording this just a day after Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp went down at the same time, you know, and I'm trying to reach Jess, and I'm sorry, Jessica, and like it won't go through, and, you know, so it's so interesting. I've seen a lot of posts in the last 12 hours, like 6 hours without Facebook. What did you learn? You know, it's so interesting. And, but really, if we look at them more seriously, like Facebook and Instagram and all that, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of good stuff out there on that. But also, like, are you intentionally choosing literature? Or if you don't like to physically read, get it on tape. Are you choosing literature that is feeding your brain and feeding your soul and feeding your senses with good stuff? It's like if you eat nutritiously versus not, like your body needs good fuel in order to work right, and your brain does too, and so does your spirit. And so I think, again, a lot of us accept that on a physical level, right? Like if I eat a lot of greens, I'll feel better. And we create all this drama in our brains about, oh, well, if, you know, and I'm talking about reading like 10 minutes a day. I'm not talking about huge amounts of time. I am talking about consistency, though. I think that makes a difference. Yeah.
I think consistency is where I fall down. And, you know, all of those things that you've suggested, I use them as my life buoys over time. When I'm feeling so overwhelmed, then I'm like, reach for this, do this, follow this, get me back into the state, and then off I go in my crazy life. But I mean, I've been doing it for parenting for 25 years now, and I've kind of, I don't know, I mean, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here at the moment as well, but one of the things that you mentioned was resentment. And I think after 25 years, I feel exhausted and resentful to a degree, in that I'm still doing all of the same things that I was doing 25 years ago, and they haven't. I have beautiful children. I have really beautiful children, and they're very unique and different, but I still feel like I'm doing things by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So all of the tools that you suggested have been very helpful, but I think consistency might be the key thing, where I just need to create that filling myself up consistently rather than waiting for myself to become depleted.
And that's where a life coach can really, really be helpful. Because people like me, we provide accountability, guidance, to sit down with you and look at what is it that's keeping you from being consistent. Maybe one of these things you don't really enjoy doing, let's throw it in the trash, you know? Maybe there's something else that you're not aware of that I know of that you can try that would be easier for you to be consistent with. Maybe you're creating drama, maybe you're whatever it is. Like it's very personalized. And to have a life coach that sits with you and focuses on whatever your area is, and if for you it would be consistency, like I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. I struggled with inconsistency for a very long time until I really started feeling the benefits of consistency. And then I was like, I'm not letting this go, you know? But it's hard. It's hard to get there, you know? And so I think that's where a professional who has done this work, both personally and professionally, to really sit with you and work through the inconsistency and help you come up with a routine that works for you, I think that's priceless, you know? Because you walk away from that relationship keeping that forever. So.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Consistency is the key for so many things. And I think I heard someone say it before. We're all consistent at something. Mm-hmm. It's just finding those things you're inconsistent about and somehow finding a way to be consistent in that. If you're consistently not working out, well, you need to switch that to be consistently working out and that kind of thing. But consistency is definitely key. Very key.
And I'd be interested to delve into what are the things that you're consistent with and why is it easy for you to be consistent in that area? What is it about the things you are consistent with? What are you getting from that? That's not a challenge, and try and kind of take cues out of that to see what would help you be consistent in other areas. You know, I'd be interested in doing some of that work with people as well.
I love it. So cool. So much. Thank you so much for being with us today. You get to go and enjoy the rest of your day. We're all going to bed.
It's been so awesome having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Before we let you go, where can people find you?
Yeah. So my website is elanaisraelcoaching.com. So that's ELANAISRAEL coaching.com. And if you want to just go ahead and schedule a free consultation with me without having to look at a bunch of stuff, you can go to www.elanaisraelcoaching.com/book Elana, BOOKELANA. And on there, you can find my Instagram and all this other stuff if you want to just kind of, get some free tips and stuff like that without actually committing to working with someone. Because I think it's important to get to know someone a little bit before you start to work with them, you know? And I provide some of that within a free consultation. We sit down for 20 minutes and we focus on you and what are your goals and what's going on with you? And we get really deep into it to see if we are a good match, you know? So that's where you can find me.
I think that's really important. That's awesome that you do that, because that is exactly what you just said. If you guys aren't going to gel, no one's going to win out of that situation.
This is your life. Yeah, this is your life, you know? This is your life. I mean, Not that you're putting your life in my hands, but you're being vulnerable with me, and you're giving me the honor of kind of coming into your life for a little while. And it's important that you like me, that you trust me, that you feel like you want to do the kind of work that I'm going to push you to do. Like, these things are important.
100%. I love that. Love that. We'll put all those details in the show notes. And then that way everyone can access you easily. And then, like on Instagram, that's how you and I connected. So that's obviously a good place to start too. You're very active on there. So I get to see all about your life, all about your son. So that's awesome.
So if you want to go straight to Instagram, it's at the Calm Mom Coach. TheCalmmomCoach, if you prefer that way as well.
Yeah. It was your name that definitely, like that name that the
Calm
intrigued
Mom.
me. I was like, the Calm Mom. I'm not the Calm Mom. I would like
one day while I was driving. I was like, oh, that's who I am. That's what I do. And it rhymes.
I love it. Love it. So good. Well, thank you again for being with us. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you for listening in to this episode of The Transformation Project. The Transformation Project is not just a podcast. We're also a community. We're a collective of like-minded people all around the world seeking to live their best life and raise each other up. We're looking to support you, set goals, get healthier, connect with yourself and others at a deeper level, and better understand yourself and the world around you. We're always looking to link arms with like-minded people wanting to create more out of life. You can connect with us via our website, which is www.thetransformationproject.net.au. Email us at support@thetransformationproject.net.au, or simply listen in to one of our podcast episodes, which can be found on all podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can even watch some of our episodes on our YouTube channel, simply called The Transformation Project. Please like and subscribe to make sure you hear all the incredible shows and guests we have lined up. If you have any feedback or any comment, we would love to hear those, as well as any ideas or guests that you think we should be interviewing in future. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Transformation Project.